Ditch. I'm your resident ditch witch, Tara Tyne, and we're about to get witchy, whether you like it or not. Can you believe we've reached the end of Ditchoween? Where did that go? Oh my god. 13 spooky, almost all Irish videos, and what a month it has been. I'll tell you what, I've enjoyed it something fierce. But I am ready to kind of just lie down and die for a few days now, so I have one more little Ditchoween related video coming up for you this coming week. Hopefully there'll be some of the bloopers from my Ditchoween videos, but anyway, that is next week's problem. Today, right now, we are concerned about costumes, okay? I figured it wouldn't be Halloween in Ireland unless there was some really dodgy costume making with stuff I had around the house, so here we are. My chosen theme, as some of you who have me on Facebook might have noticed, is Vikings. Yes, okay, over the course of the last 12 months I have been slowly but surely infiltrating the Magnus Viking Association based up in Ballydugan Medieval Village near Downpatrick. And so I've been there now twice already, and they announced that they were doing their Samhain medieval market, and I don't think I've ever actually been to a market that was Samhain orientated, so I obviously had to go to that, and this will be my third visit now, and I really wanted to impress my new Viking friends. So I thought back to a promise I had made the last time I visited them when I bought a bolt of very nice wool, and I sort of said that I would make a costume out of that for the next time I was going, and I thought, hey, yeah, cool. Should we just knock an old Viking outfit together? No problem. Yeah. So I went on to Google and I found one design that I really liked, which actually involved two kinds of dresses, and I thought, you know, that looks really quick and easy. I'm gonna give that a go. And actually, if everything hadn't crapped out on me, it would have been really quick. So I drew this very rough mock-up of how I wanted it to look. I did not show you the process of drawing this picture because it took me several hours, okay, and several do-overs. So here it is now anyway. I'm happy enough to show it on camera, and you can see that there is like a sort of a shift underneath, an underdress, kind of a tunic, which I gather would have been made largely from linen, hemp, that kind of thing. But I actually had a big amount of this kind of mustard yellow coloured fabric from the 90s that my curtains in my bedroom were made from, and this was fabric that was left over. A little bit worn, a little bit faded, but it had sentimental value to me. And I've kind of been looking at it going, what am I going to do with that? And for this project, where I didn't want my tunic to look brand spanking new, I decided I'd try it out. And then the wool apron dress I thought looked pretty simple as well. The only bit I thought looked tricky was the straps. I wasn't too sure how those were going to work out, but I found two excellent tutorials, both by the same content creator. Her name is Annie Brahe. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She's only got a handful of videos up on YouTube, but she was a lifesaver, and she really gets down into the intricate details on how to make it look its best. Now, I did take some of what she said on board about historical methods, and to a certain extent I would have been possibly using some of the same stitches that they might have used back then, but for the most part, the aim of this project was speed, okay? I wanted to do it quickly. I wanted it to be something that parents, say, who had to make a costume last minute for a youngster could throw together. So it's hopefully going to be a semi-useful tutorial in how to do a fairly decent looking Viking outfit, but quickly and using modern methods. So I've told you about the fabrics, and as you can see, the dress is held together by these two brooches that clip on here, and I wasn't really too sure how that was going to work. I was a little bit inspired by this brooch that I bought the last time I was at the Viking village. Very, very metallic looking, very, very nice, but I'm pretty sure that's actually made out of clay. And I thought, there's something in that, you know. The problem was that I couldn't fit a pin strong enough to hold a woolen dress together on the back of a brooch this size. So I had to try and construct something a little bigger. In hindsight, I probably could have just made it out of cardboard, but look it. What's done is done. So yeah, the way I was working this project was a little bit at a time, sort of in the evenings when I had a chance. The tunic sort of underdress thing, I actually got that made in one evening. So that was a really, really quick make. The wool apron dress. Okay, I had a very good and solid looking plan for how to put that together. I looked at it and thought, hey, no problem. Once I know how to make it, now it's gonna take like an hour and a half to make the body of the dress, and then the straps, that might take a few hours, but sure, it's fine. But it wasn't fine. You'll see the crack, but basically I had to do without the sewing machine for the first few stages of it, so that slowed me down considerably, but actually that did give me a very good excuse to bring you along to meet my mommy. A special 1 year anniversary treat, because you know I love to have my mommy around when I'm making costumes, okay? It's like a tradition between us. And stick around, because I am going to be modelling my Viking costume for you up at Ballydugan Medieval Village and also at the nearby Ballyknoe Stone Circle. So without further ado, let's just get into the project, yeah? So this is the cotton I was telling you about. It's really shiny on one side and a lot less shiny on the other, and I decided that was the side I was going to use. So it was just a matter of measuring out one large rectangle, which I'd cut in half later on to serve as the front and back of my dress. You'll see more about that in a second. I also cut out 2 rectangles to the length and width of my arm to serve as sleeves. Then I cut out 2 triangular gores to fill out the shape of the skirt. They're not exactly the same size and shape because I cut them folded on the double to save time, but you're not going to see it, we'll get away with it. So back to that big rectangle I cut for the body of the dress. I made a crease down the centre, the quick way, and then I cut it in 2 halves. And then it was just a matter of pinning the gore alongside it to make sure that the two were going to line up and that they were going to actually make a decent shape when they were draped on me. And since I had skipped the ironing stages earlier, I figured I better give them a run with the iron now just to make them easier to pin. Then I decided I'd start with the skirt because I was less intimidated by that. I don't think I've ever really constructed sleeves from scratch before. And I sewed the shoulders about 10 centimeters from the edge on either side. So that was a bit new to me. And then it was time to have a little try on. So to fit the sleeves on next, I used this square of fabric which is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, and it gets caught on 2 sides sort of diagonally, like diamond shape, into the sleeve as you're sewing it up. So it's to give you space in the armpit for your arm to move. And once I had sewed the whole sleeve together, it was time to just attach it to the dress. It was a lot easier than I was expecting it to be, and I think it looks pretty good. I still had to cut the neckline, and then I'd need to do some hand sewing just to give that a nice finish, and on the cuffs as well. So this is the blue wool I was telling you about. It's actually a lot stiffer than I remembered, so I had to bear that in mind when making the dress. Now, if you are making this in a real hurry and you have a blanket in your house maybe, or a piece of flannel or something like that, then that would do a really good job and it wouldn't fray, so you wouldn't need to worry about securing the seams. So very similarly here, I've just cut 2 rectangles from the blue wool. Instead of being measured from my shoulders to my ankles, this was measured measured from where I wanted the neckline to come to, so around my chest, to somewhere just below my knee, because I wanted it to be a little bit shorter than the shift. So I cut out my 2 rectangles, and in the panic of realising that my sewing machine wasn't going to do the job, I frantically started whip stitching around the edge of these 2 rectangles. It was simultaneously stressful and soothing, but it seems to have done a pretty good job of slowing down the fraying process. Once I had that done, it was time to start pinning a seam around. And when I called my mum to have a bitch about what was going on, she offered to help me with the hand sewing, which I obviously took her up on once it came to Friday and I realised I was almost out of time for this project. And after having a look at it, she insisted that her sewing machine would do the job no problem.
You've been a long time hand sewing that now.
Well, you can see why I thought I was going to need help, Mummy.
Yeah.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
So, you can see we've made the body of the dress in a very, very small amount of time. Mommy had it sewed on her machine there in about 10 minutes. So what we've done is gone round and just, where I have zigzag stitched the whole way around, we can basically just do the running stitch on it, which Mommy did. Up as far as here, then we've just sewed them together here. And now it's time to get measuring on the straps. So let's get working on that. I decided to take Annie's advice and cut my straps to 4 centimeters wide and twice as long as I was actually going to need them. Then you fold both edges lengthways in towards the center and fold that over again. This makes a super strong strap, which is 4 layers of fabric thick. And then to complete the strap, fold it back on itself and make a loop where your brooch pin is going to be attached. You make a little small one for the front of the dress, and then you take this longer one, which I'm going to fold in half, and do the same thing with it and then attach it at the back. If your dress isn't going to be quite that heavy and you think you'll get away with a single width strap, just do this process. But rather than cutting it twice the length and folding the whole thing in half, just create a loop at the end like this. But I decided to be safe rather than sorry, and so I forged ahead as planned, folded the strap in half, and then decided that Mommy's idea to zigzag stitch down the center of the 2 of them actually sounded like another excellent time saver. And it was a complete success. It's about as tidy as it would have been if I'd hand sewn it. I really like the look of these plastic buckles that I bought in a local craft shop, and I attached 2 diaper pins to the back of them with a hot glue gun. But I wasn't terribly confident in the pin's ability to actually hold the weight of my dress, and so I decided to make a backup out of clay. I etched in a Celtic knot design and then sprayed them metallic copper and left them to dry. Then, just to take the shiny brand new look off them, I went round them a little bit with a slightly darker shade of gouache, just to bring out some of the detail and give it a bit of a tarnished sort of look. Then I decided that backing it with cardboard was definitely in order. So I ran some PVA around the edge of some corrugated cardboard, put a little bit of gold paint on with a brush, and I just used PVA glue to stick these together. Very effective. These were the pins I was using, super size safety pins, and I didn't have any fabric glue left, and so I substituted it with wood glue, which worked an absolute treat for putting the felt on the pin to hold it in place. I wore them all day the following day and I didn't have a single problem. So that visit to Mommy's was actually today. Yes, it's about 11:30 at night. I'm quite tired. And I still need to put the pins onto my actual brooches, as well as then measuring the dress strap off it. But look, the brooches turned out an awful lot better than I thought they were going to. The straps were an awful lot quicker than I thought they were going to be. And once I got the end of the sewing machine, the dress was incredibly quick. So look it, enough chit chat. Let's just get to the reveal. So Samhain Hannah Díobh, happy Halloween to you all. I hope you have great fun trick-or-treating. By the time you're watching this, I am probably passed out face down under my bed. But I'd like to say a huge thank you, Gura Mila Mahagib, to everyone who supported, who liked, who commented, who shared throughout Ditchoween and over this past year. It really has been such a fun time. I mean, where did the time go? I actually can't believe it's been a year already. And I kind of love that our anniversary falls around Halloween, you know. I was gonna say join me over the ditch for the next spooky adventure, but I suppose that's not officially going to be until next Ditchoween. Or maybe we'll see what we can do in the meantime, because, you know, I love it. I love it. So I guess it's hit subscribe for more fun and witchy adventures. I upload most Thursdays and you're not gonna want to miss it. Slán agus beannacht, goodbye and good luck to you.